some folks have been asking for an update on our living wall, and so I thought I'd take some time and film this early morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning, so there's minimal traffic right now, but as it is with all these living wall videos, if a car comes by, I'll just get quiet and let them go by, since that's part of the whole reason of the wall is we're on a busy road here. So what I'll do is draw to your attention some of the highlights of what's going on right now. You can see the beautiful yellow flower that's happening is our giant perennial sunflower, Helianthus giganteus, which we're hoping to have available for offer next fall. And we're learning, I'm going to let this car go by and just show you this flower for a moment. We're learning that this flower, this plant, definitely would prefer a lot more light than it's getting, because here on the north side of the wall, in full blazing sun, this can get 8 to 10 feet tall, and here it's just leaning outward, but it's happy enough, the bees are enjoying it, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's in its peak moment here at the end of August. Our miscanthus grass here is at about the full height it's going to be for the season. It's over 9 or 10 feet tall right now. I think it could get a little bit bigger if it had a little more light, but it's fine. Got some thick tires on that one. The alders and willow on the northeast corner are doing just fine. The odd sunchoke that I planted this spring are popping up, and that one's taller than me by now. Speaking of sunchokes, if we follow this along, and just like I said in the last video, it's still, if anything, it's a little thicker than it was before, but that's our chicken yard on the other side. Exactly, right, you can't see it. That's the point. From the chicken yard, you can't see the road. I'll take a shot of that before we're done, but it's just more of this gigantic perennial sunflower. The elderberries that we had in here, they're kind of buried in, but next year I think they'll reach out even further. They put on some gorgeous flowers. They were loaded with fruit, and the birds ate every last fruit. That was the point. They're very content here with all the excess nutrient. The mint root down below is acting as a great ground cover, and over time we'll let that completely cover the walkway, completely creep this way, and just be a lush green ground cover. Our stampede sunchokes, just one of the larger varieties out there. It has yet to flower. It's one of the latest flowering varieties that we have, and this is over 8 feet tall now. It's taller than our lamppost. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? And this will flower in later September and into October. What's crazy is this spring I went to dig out tubers and I was sure the voles had eaten every last one. Well, they didn't. Yeah, J-chokes are pretty amazing that way. So that's the east side. On the west side here, echinacea is still in flower. I think one of the takeaways I'm finding is it would be nice to add some elements that flower later in the season, because it's lush, it's dense, but it's not as loaded with flowers right now as I'd like. But the curly willow has kept on growing. That's 12, 14 feet tall. Next spring we're going to cut that back real hard, focus its energy on being thicker. But some of the understory trees that were planted in here are now starting to pop. The redbud is squirting out the side there. There's a plum or two tucked in there. They're doing okay. This spring I added in sunchokes to wherever it felt like there were gaps, and they're really filling out any of those gaps. And I've chop and dropped them a few times. So there, that sunchoke grew beautifully this year. The hybrid poplar next to it is starting to fill out, so at some point I'll cut the sunchoke and feed it to the poplar and manage that. The more tree elements we have, the better in here. The herbaceous elements are really nice rapid fillers. Some of the weeds, air quote, like burdock and New England aster, the yellow dock, the plantain, they're all welcome here. They're all decompacting, and taking up pollution and breaking it down. They're all helping the system, so we're leaving weeds. In fact, down at this end, we must have put some tomato weeds at the end of last season. We pulled some tomato plants, and now there's a whole thicket of tomatoes. We're not eating them since they're on the edge of the road, but it's pretty amazing. There's enough fertility here, even though this is kind of beat up fill sand from a project, that the tomatoes are very disease-free. They're loaded with fruits down there, so the wildlife can enjoy some fruits if they want. It's kind of cool to know we could grow crops down here, but not for our consumption. Little end cap of some more sunchokes. You can see the willow gets super lean underneath this tulip tree, really showing how shade intolerant they are. And that's the wall as of now. Let's look at it from the inside. So from the driveway looking down, the only place you can see the road is, well, where we have to see the road. If we didn't drive at all, and we didn't have any visitors coming, we could have some hardy kiwis creeping across. We could fill it out, but we need to come and go. And so the cars sneak through that one little slice of light there. But it is as dense as anything. The hops, and the sun is starting to come up, and I can go behind the hops and you would not see between the Nanking cherry and the hops, you can't see it. From the chicken yard, let's check it out. The mid-morning preen. Hello ladies. Don't mind us, we're just taking a little tour. So this is on the inside of the wall, which from the outside you couldn't see these elements. These are hazelnuts that are now 8 to 9 feet tall, 3 years in the ground. So these are 4-year-old plants loaded with catkins for next year. So we should get a hazel crop. The black currants and red currants finished up. The chickens enjoyed most of those. And the honeyberries in these little rings, they'll fill out and be yet another layer soon enough. The spotted alder that we have in here, which is a trellis for a grape that's meant for the chickens. So periodically I shake the tree and grapes rain down for the chickens to eat. That's almost 20 feet tall. We're gonna cut that back next year. That's a 4-year-old plant. It's absolutely jacked in this chicken compost system. But these are all to the south of our living wall, which is here. And so this is the other side of it, loaded with hops and grapes. This year we added in hybrid poplar, which are in here very fast growing. We can manage them. And we'll put in a couple varieties of willows, elderberry, and currants. Sorry, I lied. I could see that car sneak through, but for a fence that's 3 years old made out of plants, I'm not too upset. In areas where the hops dominate, it's really dense. So lots and lots of layers. It's working well enough. It will only get denser from here, which is one of the most exciting aspects of this fence. And thanks for watching.